Most online trainers are one simple ad away to growing their Instagram account. And I'm going to show you how you can spend just £5 to £10 per day and spend less than 60 minutes per month to set up this ad campaign and get followers for less than 15p. And yes, if you've never run ads before because it scares the shit out of you, don't worry, because Barry was in the exact situation, and for just €195, he got 1,264 followers. I'm going to go through our 25-day experiment that we did in the Online Trainer Club, and then at the end, show you exactly what you need to do to set it up so you can get results just like Barry, Craig, and Ben. And the best bit, you don't have to actually create any ad-specific content. We're going to use your best performing organic pieces of content and use those instead. And that's why we only spend 60 minutes per month on this campaign. Let's dive in. Quick context. If you don't know who I am, my name is Luke Johnson and I started online coaching in 2012. Over that time, I built a team of 12 coaches, have educated over 10,000 online personal trainers around the world to help grow their business, become better coaches, and scale to 50k plus per month. So here's how we're going to tackle it. In step one, I'm going to go through and break down what I call the brand expansion ad campaign. Step two, I'm going to break down the exact 25-day experiment that you can carry out that we did in the Online Trainer Club and reveal the result. Some of them rather shocking. And step three, I'm going to give you my recommendations for how you can grow the right type of following on your Instagram account. Let's move over to step one and get the iPad out. When we're looking at paid ads for online trainers, I like to break it down into three different campaign types. The first one, which we're going to be looking at in more detail today, is what I call the brand expansion. And the goal for this is quite simple. It's to get the right types of people to follow your Instagram account. The next one we're going to have is the brand compounding lead generation. So once you've got more followers, how can we then take them and grow our email list and generate more leads? Again, I'm not going to go through that in this video, but we will go through it in a future one if there's enough interest. So this one we can call the compounding lead gen. Apologies for my handwriting, it's rather shite. And the last one that we're going to look at is once we've increased our expansion of our brand and more people know who we are then going to generate more leads. And then, of course, once we do that, the last one is what I like to call the brand conversion-based ones, where we're only targeting warm audiences to convert for one-to-one clients or your challenge or even a low-cost membership. Now, how does this look in theory? You've seen the funnel before. Everyone loves the funnel. Well, at the end of the day, we need more people to know who you are. So this is where the expansion becomes. And our whole focus on this is just to get more people to know who you are. Once we've done that, there's going to be a certain amount of people where we're actually going to then generate leads. And then finally, once we've got that, as you can see, as we get smaller, we will then look at, can we get clients or customers? So when we're looking at the difference between the expansion, the compounding lead generation ad campaign, and the actual conversion-based campaign here, like we saw here, what you're going to find is when we're looking at cold to hot, we're going to have more people here, and we're going to have cold there. These are going to be warm, lukewarm, if you want a bad joke. And then finally, the people at the bottom, we're going to put them in red. These are going to be your hot. So these campaigns, these three campaign types, will all work cohesively. If you was just trying to run one campaign though, I would highly recommend that you focus on the expansion, because then you can let your natural organic content, as well as your emails, as well as your offers, do all of the hard selling for you. Because this one here, by far, will be the cheapest out of all three, because these are going to be not like your traditional ads that you see. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Online Trainer Club where we host our community. And I'm going to go through briefly what this brand expansion campaign is. So brand, let me just zoom in a little bit. As I said, the objective here is to just get more people to know who you are. The phase exists to increase the number of people who see your content, increase the number of people who recognize you, grow your following, increase engagement on your post, and in essence, build your brand bank, which again, I'll do another video another time on what the hell I actually mean when I use the term brand bank. This phase is not about leads, DMs, or signups. It's got one job: get more people to know who you are, to get more leads, to get more clients. Now, with ManyChat, you've got the new follower automation. So what I'm going to teach you today, once you set up your ManyChat, you'll be able to automatically use that for any new followers that come in from the brand expansion ad campaign. So here's the core principle. We do not create any ad from scratch. I do not want, if you're a dad who's sick of being overweight, then hit follow. They do not work. Meta will punish you. They will make your ad more expensive if it is a blatant ad. People don't go on social media to get sold to. So this is why we're not going to create any new content. We're just going to go to your existing content and find which pieces of content got you the best number of followers. But there are some caveats. So let me just go over to here and show you on this whiteboard. So this is how we're going to set it up. We're going to use a traffic campaign. The objectives will be traffic. The buying type is going to be auction. And then we are going to set the budget on an ad set level. Now, for this to work, we're going to use ad set 1 to start off. I'll go through the experiment in a bit. And you can either use Advantage Plus or Broad. You'll select the countries, the age range, the gender, and the most important thing is that you're going to exclude followers. If you don't do that, they will show your content to followers. Then as you progress, and this is what we didn't do in the experiment, but I'll wrap up at the end in step 3, where we go through my recommendations, is you can then create another ad set that has a pure focus on testing new creative to see if it outperforms your winning ad set. So what I need to do is go onto Instagram, and you'll be able to see it here. You'll go to your professional dashboard. You'll go to your content. Go to like last year, 2 years if you want to. And rather than looking at views, what you can do here is change the metric and look for number of followers. And then what that will do is it will sort your posts that naturally got you the most amount of followers. They're the ones that I had there. Then you can take those and use them for your ad campaign. Now, one of the caveats would be that, do you have a high quality audience? If you don't, then you probably don't want to use that content, because it's the creative that does the targeting for you, which we'll show you soon. If you do have a low engaged following for whatever reason, type of content, you run ads before and you fucked yourself, then I'd highly recommend that you start maybe with Broad. If you've got a good following, a good email list, a buyers list, then I'd highly recommend from our experiment that you use Advantage Plus as your audience targeting. And then what can we do when we say seed? You're saying paying clients, applicants, engage email lists, your followers, all of those there, and turn that on. And just give it 1 to 3 of those audiences. And what that does is it just gives Meta a sort of direction that they can focus on to find people that fit that category that are not your followers. And we're giving it permission to go above and beyond and find people that they feel would be better. If you've got a crap quality audience, then maybe go Broad, but make sure that the posts you're using are bringing in the right types of followers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over and I'm going to give you the analysis of the actual experiment that we did. So what we had we had three coaches. We had Ben, Craig, and Barry. And as you can see, slight difference is Ben had a smaller audience. So therefore he thought, I'm just going to go with broad targeting, and is arguably the member that has the weakest current content. Craig and Barry both went Advantage Plus, and then Barry's from Ireland, so his ad account is in euros, so taking that into account. But they all had the exact same framework, the exact same targeting within reason, and the only thing that was different was the creative that they used. Again, just organic content, and of course the actual buyer themselves, which was quite surprising when we looked at it. So what we found was that obviously Ben spent 198. He got 389 followers, which gave him a cost per follower as 51p. Yes, on Meta now in the ad account, you do have the ability for looking at number of followers you've got, and then you can obviously calculate the cost per follower using some metrics. Then we had Craig, who spent £193 and got 470 followers. And Barry spent 194 euros and got a whopping 1,256 followers, making his follower cost just 15 cents. So identical spend, but Barry got like 2.7 times more followers than Craig, and the cost per follower was 62% less than Craig's and 70% less than Ben's. Again, same structure, just the creative quality and profile level that had an impact on how many followers they got. So when we're looking at CPM, we're looking at the cost per milli, which is the cost that Meta is going to charge you to get 1,000 impressions. That doesn't mean 1,000 individual people. It could be the same person seeing it twice. It's just a bog standard metric that we look at to see how Meta is assessing our creative, our content, and if they're finding it hard to give that creative to the right people, they're going to charge you more money. And that's what they did with Ben. His was £14.42, Craig's was £6.84, and Barry's was €4.46. So Ben's was a lot higher. Now, that could be that he used broad and he didn't have Advantage Plus. And it probably is because of his creative quality is not of the standard of Barry's, for example. But Ben does come back later on. And what we found was we looked at hook rate and hold rate. So your hook rate would be like if people stay more than 3 seconds. Hold rate is if it is, I think, 15 seconds or more, or if it's a shorter creative and say it's 12 seconds, it's 75% of that going forward. Again, don't quote me exactly on that. You can chat GPT it. But what we found was that the hold rate had the most important. Hook rate is really important, but hold rate, the higher the hold rate, the more likely they were of hitting follower, which makes sense. So when we looked at it here, we can see that Ben had a hook rate of 53% on average with a hold rate of 30%. Barry had 48% hook rate with 33.2%. Craig had a 41% hook rate. However, Craig did mix and match carousels, which did have a negative impact on his average hook rate and a hold rate here. But what we found with the ad account when we looked at it was that 85 to 90% of the spend that they had went on one creative. And 94 to 96% of followers gained came from one creative, because Meta knows more than you. And it will know that this creative is giving you the best engagement rate and giving you the best results that you're looking to achieve. Meta wants you to win. It wants them to win. So everyone's a winner, baby. Okay. So what we then looked at was the profile conversion rate. And this really surprised me. So they charged Ben more money to show 1,000 impressions. He got less followers. He got less profile visits. But his profile converted at 55%. Barry's at 34% and Craig, with the weakest, at 20%. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each of their profiles, and I had AI analyze it. And what they found was that Craig's structure was pain point and tool focus. Ben's had audience, outcome, authority, and a call to action. And Barry's had like an identity crisis. But Barry did say that he did change it halfway through because he was in a launch mode for his 8-week challenge. So what we're going to do is look at these. So this is Craig's. This was the one that converted at 20%. As you can see, you've tried everything, lost the same stone 3 times, and then here's a calorie calculator. Now, when we look at Ben, he's got one-to-one coaching, lose 10 to 20 pounds. So he's got a result there. He's got fat loss, strength and simplicity. He's also got emoji, so it stands out a little bit more. But this is the big one. He's got 15 plus years of experience. And he said 100 plus clients coach. When we had our recap of the experiment, I said to Ben, surely it's more than 100 people. Because if you've been in the game for 15 years, then I'd be like, well, 100 clients ain't that much. And he's like, yeah, I just didn't want people to think I was Billy bullshitting. So he has worked with that. So again, he's changed that. And he's got a call to action DM reset for free fat loss nutrition guide. So if a new follower's coming in, they're probably not going to click your link in their bio to sign up for coaching. Now, I'm not saying you don't have that. You've got to prioritize what it is that you want. But with this, we've got all of those things. We've got social proof. We've got giving something away for free, and we're calling that target audience. And then with Barry's, as I said, he did change his. Barry loves a biscuit, and he called himself a biscuit connoisseur. But his username is Barry's Bods. So sort of fitness related, but he's not using his display name here where he's putting like an online personal trainer, and there's no link in bio and stuff like that. So really look at your bio. And if you do want me to critique your Instagram profile, then go over to Luke Johnson Online on Instagram, and then just send me a DM and with bio, and I'll add it to the rotation. So if we're looking at optimizing your bio, which is vitally important, so there's no point running ads and getting like low CPMs like Craig did, but not having a bio that's optimized, because you could be losing out on a lot of followers. So what do I recommend? Have your profile picture. Make sure you've got a headshot so they can actually see you. You've got a contrasting background, and you're forward facing and you're friendly looking. Unless you want to be like a UFC fighter, you wouldn't want that. You would want to look quite scary and like, I'm going to fuck you up. Then think about your username. Does it have some relation to you being an online trainer? And then your actual display name that you have. And it could be your full name, just with online personal trainer. We looked at Google Trends, and we found that people far more likely search for an online personal trainer than an online fitness coach. So then Craig made that change. Then have some sort of tagline, your bio itself. State who you help, how you help them, and add some social proof to show that you know what the fuck you're doing. And then have a call to action. Now, depending on your goal, it could be something for free. It could be if they want help with like coaching or a challenge that's coming up. So you'll probably be rotating that based on what is the most important thing for you right now. What we also found was that the type of creative targeted certain people. So Barry's was a 60-second creatine reel, which had 2 organic follow call to actions, hence why he had the best results as well. And it skewed more to males. Now, when it came to Ben's, again, it was looking at eggs and dieting, and it had more balanced distribution. And then Craig's, he had some comparison stuff, more nutrition focused, and it skewed more to females. So what I'm trying to say is this: your face, Meta knows, your creative does the targeting. If you have it broad, even without age ranges, the creative that you're putting out will target a certain type of person, whether that's organic or paid. So these were some of the limitations when we looked at it. We had a smaller budget, and the creative, all of it went to one spend, to one ad creative. We had winners identified quite early on, and making sure your profile conversion's there. So if we're looking at for future campaigns, and I'll give you some recommendations at the end, limit to, if you've got a small budget, limit to 2 creatives at once. Make a minimum decision on 3 to 5 days, or 1,500 to 3,000 impressions, which might be around £5 to £10 per day. So there are some of the things that we would tweak. And then here's some overview. So one winner carries everything. Hold rate predicts followers, and profile conversion is critical, as Ben showed us. Yes, he got the least amount of followers, but he also got the least amount of people clicking on his profile. Creative decides who follows. So what I want you to do now is, before you launch your campaign, optimize your bio like I went through. Then look at your most followed creative pieces of content organically and put them aside. I'm going to show you the spreadsheet that we use that you can get access to if you want. There's be a link underneath this video. Set a minimum threshold. Don't have too many creators if your budget is quite low. Define the winner early on and look at why was that and how can I then create more pieces of content like that, both for organic as well as paid ads. So during the campaign, probably test a maximum of 2 creatives, allow 3 to 5 days. What I would recommend is that you incorporate ad set number 2, which will be your creative testing, and keep your ad set 1, which has your winners in. And then as the budget scales, you can increase the number of creatives in that winning campaign. And then when you're testing in the creative ad set, if it's performing better than the weakest one in your winning campaign, turn the winner one off, the lowest performer, add that one in and start testing more creative in the testing ad set, making sure you're spending less money on that and more on your proven winners to get you the followers that you're trying to get with this ad campaign. So in regards to experiment, this is what they looked at. We got them to test 2 different creatives. We had them on day 6 add a 3rd creative into that ad set. Again, we didn't have 2 ad sets on this for the 25 days. We just went with 1 to test this and increase the ad set budget. So everything technically has the possibility to get £2.50 per creative. Then on day 11, we turn off your lowest performer in the last 5 days and add a new creative. So you'll add a new creative and you'll increase the budget to £10. And if you want access to this spreadsheet and this and going through this and how to set up ad accounts and stuff like that, then just click the link below in this video. Thank you for watching. And if you are thinking of launching a challenge and you don't know what the hell you should do, click this video here. It will help you out.